So, what are the 3 stages of relationships? Here we go. The first stage is the honeymoon stage, where illusion and infatuation are prominent. This first stage of relationship begins in the realms of fantasy, infatuation, and what many people know as the honeymoon phase. This is where attraction blooms and the nervous system floods with dopamine, serotonin, and the chemistry of desire. In this phase, we don't truly see our partner, we see a projection. We idolize them, romanticize them, and fall in love with who we think and want them to be. There's often fawning, posturing, and performing. Both partners unconsciously present their best selves while masks remain in place. The shadow is hidden, both from the partner and from oneself, and we can only see the light. This phase feels like magic, but it is inherently fragile as it's built on illusion. This phase can last anywhere from a few weeks to a year, really just depending on the couple, and it's beautiful and necessary stage for bonding, but is not the foundation of lasting love. Which brings us to stage 2, the compassionate love stage, where shadow and transformation emerge. Eventually the masks begin to fall, and this is where a real relationship begins. Known as the compassionate love phase, this stage is a sacred crucible for growth. The shadows emerge, both yours and your partner's. Triggers flare, old childhood wounds rise to the surface, and patterns rooted in attachment trauma, such as anxious, avoidant, disorganized, begin to show themselves. This is often the most challenging stage of the entire relationship and also the most important. It's where many couples give up. They don't want to do the work to see themselves clearly. They don't want to integrate their shadows, or it's just not worth it to do it with that person. However, for those who choose to stay, who choose to integrate, who choose to rise, this becomes the portal to true love. Here, both partners must learn new tools such as nonviolent communication, emotional regulation, co-regulation, self-soothing. They must enforce healthy boundaries and agreements and receive any trauma support such as therapy, coaching, or mentorship needed. Skills such as deep listening, humility, patience, and nervous system awareness are essential. Taking radical self-responsibility and ownership over self and shadows instead of projecting them onto the partner are the key to moving through this phase with most grace and ease. This stage also requires full acceptance of the other in all of their parts, light and dark, strength and fragility, joy and pain. And it's only through this radical embrace that the relationship can begin to mature. It's also a time of purification and pleasure cycles, where deep healing creates space for even more fulfilling intimacy and richer pleasure than was possible in the honeymoon phase. So each rupture and each return to connection becomes more embodied, more grounded, and more real. This stage reminds us that relationships are seasonal. Like autumn and winter, there are times of contraction, decay, and death necessary for the rebirth of spring, as well as the harvesting and abundance and celebration of summer. This phase can last months or even years. The timeline really just depends on how devoted the couple is to their individual and shared healing work. And finally, the true love stage, union and self-realization. When a couple moves through the fires of shadow with grace, patience, and devotion, they emerge into the third stage of true love. And this stage is marked by integration, spiritual partnership, and a deep sense of embodied safety. Here, both partners have become whole within themselves and have taken radical responsibility for their own world. They no longer are dependent on illusion or projection or in codependent dynamics. They meet each other as they truly are, and they fall in love all over again. There's often a renewed honeymoon, but this time it's built on truth, not fantasy. The connection is deeper, the sex more transcendent, and the communication more effortless. They're no longer working so hard on the relationship. It just becomes encoded into their nervous systems, into their communication. Their love becomes a way of being, not a practice to remember. And this is where the couple begins to self-actualize together. spiritually, sexually, emotionally. They embody a mystical partnership, co-creating in alignment with a shared vision, mission, or dharma. Importantly, the stage is nonlinear. Unlike the first two stages, which move in a relatively clear succession, the true love stage includes all that came before. Couples may revisit tools, go through new triggers, or experience a resurgence of infatuation. But the foundation is now unshakable. The love has matured, and both partners have found sovereignty in self and bring their wholeness to create a container where 1 + 1 = 3, and they can truly thrive. This is the dream relationship. Not perfect, but whole. Not without challenge, but deeply resourced. It honors every shade of the emotional spectrum, every season of the human experience. Here, union is not about merging into one, but about remembering the oneness that has always existed through the mirror of another who sees, accepts, and loves you as you truly are. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. True love allows you to integrate your wholeness through the reflection of another, coming home to the beloved within you.